Ladies, welcome to this call. This call is something really particular to me. We did some version of it, something like last year. Today, I think it's going to be even more fun because we have Coach Dori here, assistant coach. Now she took some time as well for a project in our job. There you are. Good to see you. And so what we're gonna do, we're gonna explain a little bit of things. How do you actually get? Let me just see if I can pull up this image here, which is the image of the. There we go. How do you get to this level of transformation, going from basically already, I would say 5-7 extra kilos, and then you get abs. We will see that there is more than one journey when you want to reshape in your 40. We'll talk about, like basically how to frame that, and then we'll dive into the kind of like the process, and I'm going to describe you, in my opinion, the 3 journey. And as we have Dory here, we're supposed to have Jennifer, but she had something coming up, and therefore I'll explain a little bit more, and then we'll dive deep into Q&A for the challenge. I know some of you might have questions, and I eager you to use that time that we have here for question, because this, after all, is a challenge. It's not a group coaching or one-to-one coaching. And while I'm available and I'm trying to kind of like find time to get in and communicate with you, time is still limited. Therefore, like, use really this kind of opportunities that you have to interact with me, or else you post inside a group and you tag me. And as always, if you're in a position to be able to turn cameras on, please do so, because we have only Mariella here that she's brave enough to do that. If you're not half naked or something, like, just turn your camera on. It's much easier and more fun to talk to cameras than names. All right, let's get started. Again, I want to respect Doris' time, Marika. Therefore, okay, fantastic. So how do you achieve transformation? Because everybody is really excited for the challenge. Everybody's doing some good work in here. And I'm super excited as well, because one of the aspects that achieve a big transformation is the peer support, is the fact that there is not only a coach or coaches or leaders, but it's also other people doing the work. And we saw this with clients or former clients coming back and kind of like using that support from new people in a way, like from leading other people, and from the new people getting them some more extra spark into them. So kind of like the peer support is definitely something, but there is other things which are more important. And today we're going to talk about it. Number one, and I cannot emphasize this enough, I know Doris, she will agree with me on that, because we talked about it just minutes ago, is the commitment and the mindset on it. Meaning, like, when you want abs like that, like in less, first and foremost, if you're really like 30-40 kilos, we need to have a talk. And like, unless you're committed for a very long time, it's very hard to get here, right? But if you are anywhere from 5-10 kilos, it's very doable. Doesn't matter the age, the hormones, the whatever genetic you have, it's very doable, but you need to want it. You need to want it enough to actually do the work. And when I say want, it's not just saying I want it for 10 minutes or for a week or for a month. I want it for long enough, for first and foremost to you doing the work that long. And I always say it, when you go out for dinner, when you have an extra drink, when you take a cake, it's not like you're a bad person. It's just like you. And the funny part is that I was one, and it's not like, and I say I'm very committed to my goal, but then I'm choosing the donut. And it doesn't make me like a worse person or anything, but it's just like that time, the donut was much more important for those 5 minutes that your goal was. And of course, you just need to say the truth to yourself. Like, you're not committed. Like, you say you are, but you're not, right? And that takes me to actually be able to choose or decide to be committed. And like I said it several times, we're gonna go into this very soon. As you see here, my where are my stuff? Like here, yeah, I'm gonna talk about Jennifer. This is Pilar, like Jennifer is here. All these people I never met in real life. Like, I just met via screen. And all of them, they decided to actually do the work. I cannot emphasize this enough. I see a few names here. I see you're going to watch a replay. How many people said to me, this time is actually the last time I'm going to do it. We had a call. You come up with 1,000 excuses not to do something. Oh, I'm not sure. Oh, I have to wait. Or I need to wait. And basically, this is the way life works. And you need to just say to yourself that it's like, I no longer need to convince you, right? I just had a talk with one of my coaches. I said, this is fucking like frustrating. I need to convince these people all the time to change. And it's like, why don't you say it to them? It's easier for me to go to Spain or Thailand, whatever, on a beach and lay there and wait, that I have to convince you to give me money for you to change, because or else you're not gonna do the work. So the question is like, are you deciding? Because choosing is like finding all these excuses, finding, oh, because of my thing was bad, oh, my car, my work, all this, because I'm not gonna get it done. It's like deciding is like you already decided you're gonna be successful. You just need to find your way around it. And I know Dory said that to me at the beginning, and when she came a year ago. And basically takes me to that kind of like the second part. Not everybody's gonna be there. Like not everybody's gonna get there. No matter how hard you get, it's not for everybody. And those that are gonna be, I said in a video yesterday, the winner versus the losers, or the A player versus the C players, is basically those that stop stopping. Like you choose, you go on, you find ways to commit, you are resourceful enough. We have the code, be resourceful, try something, at least one, without believing elsewhere. Like, this is basically like you need mentally to stop stopping. And it's like, there is a way. If you don't believe what you're doing, or the person you're doing it with, then you need to, your belief is very hard to change, but then like you need to go to somebody that has a different belief, and then you need to commit. Like I said it multiple times, the first call, if you're not where you need to be, is a very high chance you're not going to get there unless you do something different, or you become somebody different. And becoming somebody different, I'm telling you, is pretty hard, because you need to accept when people tell you that you're doing something wrong, when people tell you who you really are, and you say, no, I'm not like that. Yes, you are, because or else you wouldn't be in that situation. You need to go against other people's belief. And I'm telling you, families, your husbands, your boyfriends, people that tell you, oh no, don't get a coach. You can do it without it. Yeah, maybe they can, but if you were able to, then you wouldn't be here. This wouldn't be the 10th challenge you take in if you're able to get where you need to get. You wouldn't need 10 challenges. You would need 10 diets. You would just get one. And this is the ever-loving truth, even if it's hard to hear. And then you have a decision to make. It's like, I'm here doing something, but I'm just staying where you are. And that is the actual point. If your comfort zone, which is like maybe bad, or maybe you think is bad, but if it's more better than moving, then you don't change. The definition of change is like the pain you're in now needs to be less than the pain it takes to change. If the pain it takes to change is more painful, you're not going to change. And funny, because the boring, repetitive, useless stuff, which is like, sorry, useful stuff because it's useful, but sometimes it's boring, it's annoying to repeat, to try and fail is annoying. Well, if that's more painful to you, then you're not moving. But when you're in real pain, depression, you no longer take off your clothes in front of your partner, you mess up, you might not be able to talk in front of an audience. You are maybe not going to the beach anymore. You are maybe fed up with all these night sweats, or, problem that you have, pain here, pain there. Like, if that's more painful, then you believe in something. And I don't want you just to believe on me, because I am no magician, but I can show you like how to get unfolded out where you need to get. And we're going to talk about strategy now. But a lot of people tell me, a few people tell me, hey, I don't think it was a good choice. It's okay. But many people tell me, they come to me and it's like, oh my God, you changed my life. I'm no longer depressed now. Oh, I no longer have anorexia. Oh, don't have bulimia. Oh, now I'm confident. Now I can go back to, I can show so many testimonials written, not just picture, written. And so it's like they change behavior. We just said it with Coach Dory before. We need, you know why fitness is hard? You know why this is the most thankless job ever invented? Because people need to work hard for it. It's not like if fat loss was a product on a shelf, everybody would buy it. That's why there are surgeries. That's why there are pills. That's why there are Ozempic. That's why, like, it was be so easy to do it. But then you don't change your behavior. And chances are in a year from now, you're back to square one. And there is a price to it. It might be more or less than an actual coach, but there is a price to it because you pay the price of time that you waste, of life that like 1 minute you don't have today, you no longer have it. Bad relationship or bad, like that time that you live in that state, it has a cost. And so I highly tell you that your bigger transformation, what I'm trying to get you to do in this challenge is transform your behavior. And this is basically what it is. But if that's not enough, or that's like some of you is like, no, the fuck that, I know already what I need. I am one of those already that I can do it. Okay. So then there is 3 scenarios. Number 1, we're going to talk about, I mean, there is Coach Dory here. How are you doing with time, Dory? Like you have more time or you're muted? You're muted. I cannot hear you.
No, I have plenty of time.
Okay, cool. So we'll go technically almost in order, but I'm gonna explain scenario number 1 when we are in the challenge, like now, you don't break your weight plateau. So what you need to do, or better say what we did in one case with Coach Jennifer. Then we're gonna talk with Coach Doris. She's gonna describe you the scenario of the journey, number 2, which is basically like go from 5 or 7 kilo extra to the abs, what she did. And then I'm going to describe another scenario of somebody that would be anywhere from 20, 40, or even 50 kilo up to 10 kilos, because again, those two scenarios of dieting are very different. While the first one is the most complicated because it could technically take 3 days, or it could take 3 months. I've seen as much as taking maybe 6, 7 months. If you cannot lose weight and you're one of those I'm going to describe now, it's going to be very tough if you do not do this properly, because not only is going to be long lasting, but it's also going to be a pain in the ass for you to do it again, because whether you do it with me or somebody else, you need to do that step. There is no, unless you're a person that want to live in something like 600 or 700 calorie for the rest of your life, this is the step you're taking. And again, it's important because most of you, it's not that difficult, the situation, but some of you will be, right? And basically, this is the scenario that we had with Jennifer at the time. And basically, this is a repressed metabolism. It's a metabolism that technically doesn't necessarily work well, okay? Phase number 1, metabolic rehab. You cannot break the weight plateau, and you no longer understand why. You're doing everything correctly. You're doing everything. And for the ages, for the hormones, whatever you're telling yourself is the situation. In her case, and I guess most of it, this is what, whenever I do this magic, they tell me, oh, it's like something like you did a magic, like a magician, because it's more simple than you think. If you're under eating for a while, and usually under eating is like also could be because you have a lot of stress, so much cardio, you're eating like rabbit food, or like not only 100,000 calories, maybe just also food that is like a lot of vegetable, a lot of fruits, a lot of stuff that doesn't necessarily get metabolized well, like starches are not there. You know, the primary food for your muscle is not there. So then protein and then some healthy fats, everything organic and all that. Like you're almost saying, why it's so hard for me to lose weight if I'm doing everything correctly? And basically it's because, again, you're doing too much of one thing. And again, she was working out 6 times a week, plus cardio, plus she wasn't able to estimate her TDEE. We did the TDEE this week, and like for most people, whenever you calculate, 1,800 calorie is not really 1,800 calorie. It's much more repressed. And therefore, it's not like we have to get you to hit more necessarily, but we needs to be something that you dial in specifically. She wasn't able to lose weight for a while. And we got her to lose in about, I think, 1 month, 3 point something kilo, which is like a big win for somebody that cannot lose weight no matter what. And what we did with her was like, it was simple. It's like we reduce the stress, we take off most of our workouts, and then we reintroduced cardio off. We reintroduced strength training because she was doing a lot of those jumping around stuff and like on the ball, like all the like no strength training at all. So one thing is missing. Too many steps, that's a problem. Again, dial in the calorie. And again, I wish I could just unmute each one of you and say, okay, you're gonna do this and this and this and this. I would just guess. I know what needs to happen, but we need to actually go hand in hand and say, okay, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. Like, okay, what happens? Tell me. Okay, this is what happens. Okay, then we're gonna do this. Did this happen? Oh, no, I didn't do it. Why? Oh, because it was difficult. Okay, let's make it easier for you. And this is kind of like the thing. I mean, this is the most difficult steps, metabolic rehab. We're doing it in the challenge, and now by end week, we're gonna see the first metrics being taken, you know, how you guys are doing. And then from there, we're gonna also do the assessments. But basically, when this can take 3 weeks, it can take a couple of days, it can take 3 months, or the longest I've seen for 6 months. But I know in the research, it shows that it can take a year and a half. So if that's a bad situation, then you harm yourself with patience. Because I'm telling you, if you take in 10 years and you are in a situation that you hate, 1 year is not really bad of a trade-off. But luckily enough, it's not going to be that long. Then we go into phase 2, which is basically like what we're going to talk about today with Dori, as well as, and basically this is like, it's simple. It's like, if your metabolism works well, there is a few things you do. One thing is like carb cycling, it could be an option. Intermittent fasting, it could be another option. But that basically, you still, again, you need to understand your macros. You need to understand how you're going to include the threshold of carbohydrates and so forth. I will explain in a second, I mean, after Dori talk, what we did, for example, with Marissa versus what we did with another lady that she's also more than 10 kilo. But now I wanted to see with Dori how, and again, I'm going to open the floor to you. Like I said before, you can go as long as you want, but I don't think it's going to be that long. So how do you get from anywhere from 10 or 7 kilo to the abs? Because my objective is to get everybody to understand this is not one hit wonder. It's not like you're doing something and then you're going to get there. Just explain a little bit, maybe even mentally to probably strategically, what did you have to go through to get there? And what did you have to do?
Wow, yeah, it's so many things actually. It's not one thing, like you say. It's well, from the moment I joined your group on Facebook, I decided to join the water challenge. It was the first challenge that was happening at that point. And yeah, this got me motivated. But then, of course, nothing changes with only water.
Yeah.
So gradually, I started to change other aspects of my life as well. Doing different workouts. I got my smartwatch to track my steps and stuff like that. We had this assignment to change the measurements. Everything you suggested on so many different aspects, elements. I tried to follow as well as I could. And I have to say, some of the stuff I already knew, but until that point, I was not ready yet to accept it. That it's like you said with the donut. It felt like, yes, I want this, but after this. And I kept delaying it, or then I had 3 good days, but then there was a birthday of somebody, and then so normally I would kind of quickly interrupt or give up. And now, because I had the group and your advice, and also because my mindset was right when I joined the group also.
Mm.
There was a moment before I joined that I just decided it's enough. If I continue in this path, I will keep growing. And now is the time to make some changes. So I joined the group. What did I do? Yeah, I joined all the challenges. I did a lot of planking. um, I um, I walked enough every day. You gave me this food plan that I used as inspiration. I didn't follow it every day to the letter, but I got some recipes out of it and started to make my own combinations and just finding some replacements that had some kind of the same uh, nutritional value.
Mm-hmm.
I tracked all my food in the app, which was very important because I always thought that I knew what I was eating or that it was about okay. But when I started to track, I realized that was also a lot of stuff going into my mouth that I forgot during the rest of the day. So my totals added up, I think, much more than I was aware of. But the most important thing was my mindset that made it possible to continue, to be consistent. And yeah, for me personally, I said this many times when I was still more active in the group, that I had this one question that I would always ask myself anytime I was tempted to choose food or sitting on the couch or whatever over doing what I had to do to get to my goal. At those moments when I felt tempted, I would always ask myself, but what do I really want? And yeah, then it became obvious. Never really wanted the donut. No, if I put those two goals next to each other, then it's very clear that I never eat donuts, but it's just as an example. But yeah, if you really put those two together and you envision this donut or that goal, and you have a clear vision, then it's much easier to really choose the long-term goal. And yeah, being part of this group was really a huge motivator. It kept me super focused. I also have to say that after getting my results, that's when the hardest part started. To keep the results and to let go of all this obsessive counting of calories and stuff, and that it's okay to sometimes have a day with 7,000 steps instead of 10,000 or whatever. It's when life was moving on and it asked me to be a little bit more flexible, that's when the hard part started for me, actually.
Mm-hmm.
But because I, yeah, still have all these lessons that you gave me on the way. I still know them. So every time I bring myself back to water, drink water, walk, say no, and not always, but be smart with your yeses. You don't have to always say no to stuff, but you choose the moments to say yes and make them count. And literally, because I don't really count exactly all the calories, but they have to matter. Like, it's my birthday, now I'm eating cake. Not because it's my colleague's birthday. I have 30 colleagues. I can eat cake almost every week. That I'm not doing that. So, but saying no is less hard when you are reminding yourself of why you're saying no, and that you want to say no, and that you don't have to say no. You're free to do whatever you want. But I want to say no, and then it's much easier for me.
Yeah.
So I found my tricks along the way to manipulate my brain and to keep going back to the habits I started. And some habits are really easy. Drinking water is easy. My steps, it just became a part of life, that I walk to the supermarket and not go on my bike. So that's those two are really integrated in my life. The food is something I still have to pay attention to. And workouts. Also, it's not finished. It's not that now I got my results. Now I can let go of everything. I'm there. Now everything is fixed and easy. It's something that you have to keep your focus on. And for some people, it's really easy to change habits and to keep them. But I think it's still something I have to choose every day again. And I do, because I don't want to lose what I worked for. So I guess, well, I've done a lot of talking now. So I hope it gives a bit of a picture of.
I think it's remarkable to say that it wasn't only one thing, and nor it was only the strategy. It's a lot of, again, self-psychological work. And when you said you have to choose how to say no, it reminds me what I did not so long ago. It's been almost like, except for the last few days, but it's been almost like 2 months, I haven't drink a single drink at all. That was because even if I went out for the past 20 years, at least once in a while, or even with a glass of wine, whatever. And I said, let's just take it a stop for 2 months and see what happens, how the sleep improves. And again, the water improvement, there is still not perfection when it comes to the stress part. And I must assuming that there's still a lot of things, for those of you that don't know my situation, there's a lot of things going on with cortisol and all that stuff. But again, and now I'm kind of finding a balance. Now I can actually say, okay, maybe I can have one drink, whatever, but then I can control it, right? And again, when you don't say no, it's like similar to the thing with the food. It's like you just say, oh, it's just there. You know, you don't really think about it. I'm just gonna have this one thing, and then this one thing turn into the whole package, and then this is basically how it is. And when you go from 5 kilos to the abs, this needs to be detailed to the
Yeah,
work
but I lost 10 kilos in total.
in total.
Almost
Yeah.
9.5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's more like 10 kilos, like, and again, you had very visible abs. And again, that's like detail work. And I said, you have to have a good structure. But if I'm not mistaken, you were not going to the gym. So you see, you don't need to go to the gym. So you can
No.
still have it. But again, it was a lot of detail. And I remember you several times reaching out and say, okay, should I just track now? What do I do when I go to vacation? There is a lot of things that needs to be dialed in inside the moment.
Yeah.
And when you get to that level, unless you do the work for real and then you don't stop doing it, because that's another thing that I'm glad that you said it yourself, because many people say when you reach that, then you can automatically maintain it. Well, your body's going to get used to it. And then to maintain that level of leanness is much more difficult than getting there. Well, does anybody has any question for Dori while she's here? Because then we're gonna continue to what I have to say. But I want to say, if you have any question for her about her journey, this way she can answer it right away, because I'm not sure if she can stay long after or not. But you can unmute yourself if you have a question for her. Please do. Anybody?
It's me. Can I ask a question, Mariella? About the proteins, how much protein did you take, and was it a point of focus for you or not?
Yes, I don't remember exactly how much proteins, because now I'm not really counting like that anymore. I just developed some habits that now I know that if I stick to these habits, I always have enough proteins. But I think this is one of the biggest changes that I made food-wise, except from that I
last you were here, you were taking 120 grams, basically.
Okay.
Yeah. And you were eating 2,000 calories. This is remarkable. Eating that.
That's in the end, when I stopped. Before I ate less.
Yeah, you probably were to the point of 1,600 or something like. It wasn't crazy.
Yeah, 1,750 was my lowest.
Yeah.
And then it went super fast with that, so I didn't have to go any lower. Yeah. And then I didn't go all the way up from 1,750 to back to 2,100, but we did that in steps. And I talked to you every time about when it was the right moment, and not only change the calories, but also walk a little less first before you change it. Lots of technical details that I before would have never known were important to this going back to a normal calories phase of the process.
But do you still maintain the protein that you take, or do you went to a normal level?
To me now this is normal.
And how do you do that then with the proteins? Because it's very difficult. I have 199 gram protein that I have to take, and I don't see other ways than a shake 2 times a day and excessive protein food. But without shakes, I will never ever be able to take so much protein.
No, I understand. But to me, I start in the morning with a scoop of protein powder in my oatmeal porridge.
Mm-hmm.
And I eat cottage cheese a lot because I love that. Yeah, one of the things that before I started in the group, I was totally vegetarian, but because I wanted to lose weight, I included some meat in my diet again. Not every day, but because of the proteins and because it's harder to get those if you're fully vegetarian. I found at least it was harder. So I eat chicken a couple of times a week. And the protein bars I have if I feel hungry in between meals. So for me, it's little things like that. But without shakes or protein bars, it would be difficult for me as well to have it only in regular
food.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Mariella, who said you need 199 grams?
Me, according to the TDEE. So I made it, and that's what I have to eat as protein. So I'm trying to start.
How much do you weigh?
Right now, 89 kilos.
Okay, and you're not all lean body mass like Dori, right?
I beg your pardon?
You're not like Dori, like lean body, right? Like it's like there is maybe like excess weight to lose, right?
I have 25 kg, so it's much more than her.
It's more like you were technically weighing more like 60 something, right?
Yes, I actually I have to be 60 kg, but I don't want to
Okay.
be
So
less than 65.
then you're fine with 120 grams, trust me.
Okay, so you say to me that I can start with 120, and then if it's necessary, I can increase, but I can originally start with 120.
Yes, if you want to do it, like you have a very specific process, and I told you like 10 times already, you're gonna choose whether you want to do it alone or not. But I'm telling you, like you are actually on step one, in which if you do it wrong, you're gonna waste a lot of time. But like if you want to go it yourself and test it, like 199 grams is too much. I mean, not that it's happening something to you, but you basically like put in your body to an extra level of work for your kidneys for no reason.
Yeah,
120 grams is fine.
yeah.
But for you, the most problematic option, the problem is the level of energy. Like you got what she just said, going from 1750 to 21, it needs to be in steps. Probably you need to go from 800 to a certain point, it needs to be in steps. So this is why I'm saying like probably, I don't know about much on the other new people, but as we talked, I can
Yeah.
already sense that it's going to be a longer journey. So, but provided that that's what you want to do, yeah, like I would say, do not start more than that. We do not have a BIA for you to do, and therefore to know how much vegetable protein versus animal you need. But I can tell you that you're gonna be fine if you just start like that. So, but again, and that can be done in a few recipes. Like even on the groups, you can see.
Yes, I had your recipes. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Thank you.
Any other questions as we proceed for Dori? All right. Okay, thank you for that detailed explanation. The other one would be a little bit, and let me just, before we share it, find those one that I wanted to talk about, and we're gonna talk about a few. All those had a little bit different journeys. And again, you'll see that one, for example, and again, going back to Pilar, again, this was a little bit maybe more than Dori had, but like she had to lose probably something more like 15 or something like that kilo. And her story was that she tried so many things, and sometimes she lost and she gained back. And then, she was ready to do liposuction if this wouldn't work. And what we did with her simply was like, I believe, again, some home workouts, she had weights at home. So like, it's like going into a gym, free weights. We did a lot. Like she loved tracking food. So not even the recipes. So she learned how to do level 2 nutrition, so tracking food. And that's what we did. We had, for example, Laura, which is like this lady over here. It says in 21 weeks, she did meal prepping. She did a lot of meal prepping. So that was her thing. I don't recall if she went to the gym or not. Over here, we had Georgia. She also did, and you don't see it here, like I don't have like the, but anyway, she did a very huge transformation. And again, it was, I think, also in the gym, tracking food. We had Marissa, with, again, one more time. I remember her, she convinced her husband. This is why when you guys tell me, I don't want to move forward, I have to talk to my husband. That's bullshit. I know already. It's like that lady convinced her husband, and the husband was screaming, no, this guy is a scam, don't sign up. It's like, no, I gonna pay it for myself. Like, I'm gonna convince him later, because she was in depression with medication depression. And she's like, I need somebody to help me. And somehow she said, whatever he said on the phone made so much sense to me that I'm gonna trust this guy. And then I said, oh, she's like, oh, you took me out of depression. I was like, no, you did the work. I just gave you what to do. And I just supported you to what to do. And we heard it was like, and this is the aspect of the journey. The more you have to lose, this was back in 2018. What I love about this story is that I talked to her not so long ago, and she kept it off. I'll tell you how, but she kept it off, and she lost over 35 kilos. and now she looks like this. But then it's like, she still look like this. And as you can see, belly fat. A lot of you say, okay, over 40, you cannot lose the belly fat. Well, it's a lot of like diligence, you know. She changed a lot of behavior. She just adopted all these mini challenges, and she's like kept the habits in there. She didn't give up the first thing that happens to her. It's like, oh, something happened to my family, I'm still gonna do the work. Something happened, my car breaks down, I'm still gonna do the work. Because what the fuck, if your car breaks down and you stop drinking water, why is it so difficult for you to stop drinking water and you gotta drink soda instead? Why do you need to do that? That makes no sense. So it's like 30 kilo to 10 kilo, the good part is that it's a lot of behaviors. Like as long as you change your behavior, as long as you understand what the behavior is, and as you change it, then it's easy. It's super easy then. So this is like her story. What got her to lose a lot of weight, because she started walking, and she started walking more, and then she started jogging, and then she started running. And then she went to do half marathon. I don't know if she even did a marathon or not, but I believe that she did a couple of half marathons, and then she kept that off. And why the statistics shows that somebody regained the weight is because they stopped doing things they were doing, and then your body adapts. But when you take in 30, 40, 50,000 steps because you're doing some sort of a run, then it's much more easy for you to maintain because your body changes kind of like the process. And on a nutshell, I mean, we can go on and on. Let's see if I have anybody else interesting that we can talk on. Oh yeah, there you go. I love this. I know that they're not gonna mind because I mean, it's basically testimonials, but we had, again, Laura, that was a lot of meal prepping. That was her the way. Maria, I don't remember what she did, but one thing I remember her, she's like, I don't want to be a role model for my kid that is fat. I don't want to be fat because my kid, they need to learn how to eat. And I want to be there for her, and I want to be the example for her. And so basically that was her example. So, and again, it boils down to going to either a gym or doing something specifically. And again, I wish I had, I wish I could just do that in 21 days. And it's like, okay, just you're gonna do this and you're gonna go. I would do you a disservice. I would be one of, like, you'll leave and then you're like, oh, even this thing didn't work. Like that basically what it is, because the biggest lesson is like, open your eyes. If you actually care, if you don't care, you just go. But if you care, like Dory said before, whenever you get a yes and you get something like this thing, that this light bulb moment, and it's like, maybe I actually need to take it. Maybe this is just the right time. And basically this is what it is. Any questions? Hopefully this was good and entertaining enough. Any question about any of the past testimonials, or any question about Q&A about the challenge? It's crucial you guys use this time, especially the new people. While I'm very available for everybody and of course clients, I will prioritize current clients versus challengers and testers, just because I want to make sure to have enough time for everybody. And this is the time for you to use any question about apps, about challenge, about what you need to post, about are you doing whatever, and so forth. The floor is yours. If you see a replay of this, you can always like comment in the replay. The replay will be posted inside this group, in the 21-day group. And again, unmute yourself. And again, do use this time, whether you're a prospect, client, challengers, whatever. You can also ask Dory if you think, because obviously she has a lot of good insights for us. Anybody? I don't want to get a message in 2 minutes. Oh, I didn't want to ask this on public. Please do. If you don't want to be on camera, that's fine. Just unmute yourself and ask the questions. And also, please do unmute yourself, because it's much easier for me. I'm not a very visual person, as you guys might have noticed, or I don't like to type, make a lot of mistakes. I'd rather talk to people and explain you. We can dive deep into your situation. We can open up the app. We can tweak stuff around and so forth. So again, if you're taking the challenge, if you got the app, please do unmute yourself and ask questions if you do need it.
Hi, Jerry.
Yes, Aleta.
It's Aleta.
How you doing?
I think I asked you this question on the trainees.
Mhm.
Okay, see, we started the challenge last week,
Mhm.
and like every day I was losing point something, you know.
Yeah,
But for the past, I think for the past 3 days, the scale is now going up.
that's normal.
Okay, I started by doing the aerobics, and then I stopped the aerobics, then I started walking. So when I started walking, I could see that now the scale is, you know, is going up instead of reducing. So I was asking myself, could it be maybe the carbohydrates that I'm eating too much, or what is it? And also the challenge that I have with the, because I was following, you know, that menu that you gave me, I
Yep.
was like following it 100%. You know, when I go to the ladies, it's sort of it's so difficult. So, and but also I'm drinking my water. I'm drinking more than 2 liters of water. It's 2 liters maybe, and some 4 extra glasses. So is it normal or what? Or do we need to change the menu or what?
No, it's normal. And again, I'll show you a visual for us, everybody to see, because this is a question that comes up more than often, and is also one of the biggest one of the biggest point for people to get right as well. I'm trying to find the slide what we talk about the weight. There you go.
Yeah.
Uh,
And sorry, Jerry, I also forgot to mention this one. Whereas the scale is going up, but with me, like with my clothes, I feel a bit lighter. I feel as if there's
Looser.
some centimeters that I'm losing, but the scale. So I think that's what motivates me now to, you know, to carry on. So I'm like, okay, so today you are deciding to go up the scale. I'm not gonna stop. The centimeters, I can see that, I can feel it in my clothes that I'm, you know, like getting some shapes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the first rule of thumb, and this is like why we're gonna take the measurements only maybe like another week or so. The first rule is like you always want to look for centimeters loss. Your clothes are getting looser. And also you want to look for visuals, meaning like if you do see yourself looser, like on the mirror, a little bit light, like you just shrinking, right? And then also you want to look for the biofeedback, meaning like, are you sleeping better? Do you have energy? The cravings is less or more. And the last thing you want to be looking, but for some weird reason, is people look the thing they look for first, and they determine that to be successful is the weight. It's like, because this is what happens. And again, this is in pounds, but you can also think on kilograms, the same thing. As you see here, it's like one day is 153, that would be 73, let's say. Then it's 69, then it's 147, that would be, let's say, 67, and then you're back to 70. Yeah. So it's like if you take in only Sunday, and then you come back and next Sunday is gonna be 150, then you are happy, right? If you come back next Sunday and you weight yourself again and you was 60, then you're like, oh my God, it doesn't work. But ideally, it's like, that's what I said. You want to take a median per week. You want to take all this data, and if you forget one day, you just skip that. It's like, let's say you don't weigh yourself Monday, you don't weigh yourself Wednesday, then you just take in, you hide these two numbers, and you just take the higher and the lower, and you cancel them off, and you just take the one in the middle, and that's your median. Yeah, but never use this as determinant of success. If that's a problem for you, then don't take your weight. It's much better that you just take your centimeter if mentally it messes you up. Because I'm telling you, especially you, because we're going a lot under your calorie, like you're still hitting around 2000, yet you're going under. Like your body could easily eat probably something like 2500 and you'll still probably lose weight. Then even like, I'm positive that if you're eating even 80% of what you're supposed to be doing, you're getting results. And that's why you're telling me already. Now, there is few scenarios, right? Number one is like no weight change or weight gain, no centimeter change, and then bad feedback, right? Like I'm constantly hungry, whatever. That's like we're doing something totally wrong. Your scenario is like, I have weight shift on going up and down, my centimeter improving, I feel better, I look better, my feedback is good. Not only you're losing weight, not only you're losing fat, but you're also rebalancing your metabolism. It could also be that weight is up, centimeters are up, and it doesn't sound very good, but then your feedback is better. That's a win, even if it's kind of annoying because it's gonna take long, but you're still winning because first you need to rebalance your metabolism and lose weight. You don't lose weight to rebalance. In fact, that's the next step. Follow me, hope everybody's following. It's not easy, but you're losing weight, you also maybe losing the centimeter, but you constantly find your metabolism. It's like, I have no energy, I don't sleep well. That's annoying because you still need to find a way to rebalance those things first. And usually it's to do with stress, it's to do with maybe we need to figure out if you need to walk a little bit less, you need to maybe eat a little bit more, maybe you need to add some volume to the food and a lot of stuff. And of course, the best scenario in the world, like you're an hyper responder, you're gonna lose the weight, you're gonna lose the centimeter, you're gonna look good, and then you're also gonna feel good. And if that's what happens, that was Marissa, that was initially Pilar, a lot of those, I don't want to say added easy because they put in the work, but the body responds well. We have few people here. I don't think you're gonna mind, Claudia, if I use an example. Claudia's metabolism is very tough. Like while she's doing the work, like sometimes she has to fight her feedback, and this is why it's so hard to rebalance, because weight is my opinion. We don't need to look much the weight. We need to look more kind of like the reshaping part. But the feedback part is hard, and that's why sometimes it's hard because we need to get to the root cause of whatever the case is. And again, I think Elizabeth is awesome. I mean, sometimes it's like that with her as well. Yeah, but to a nutshell, don't drift from whatever you're doing, because I'm telling you, you're getting results. Yeah, but good question. That's a very good question. Many people fall into this category of uncertainty, and this is why it's always positive to have some sort of a support to make sure that somebody tells you you're doing fine, continue. Anybody else? I see new people. Arnida, I see Desiree.
Hi, Elizabeth. Hi.
Desiree.
Elizabeth, yeah.
Elizabeth, here you are.
I just want to add something to Ashanti, that we have to remember that we are women. We have a cycle. And
Right.
tracking weight has been a very good thing for me to get to know my body. At one point in my cycle, I might be 2 kilos heavier almost than the week later. And when you track over time, you see the pattern.
Do you reckon that you have more hungry in the first part of the cycle or the second? Like you have more cravings, because you know how that shift for everybody as well.
Just before I get my menstruation, then my weight goes up.
Yes, and you are also more susceptible to cravings?
And no, I don't have to change much, really. I don't change the way I eat. I don't experience much cravings. But no matter what, my weight goes up.
Yeah.
1 kilo, 1.5.
I have the same thing, and I think it's just liquids, because
Yes.
it disappears without changing any of my behavior. It's really related to my cycle, and I can feel it on my body. I can see it. It's liquids. I'm holding, I'm retaining water a little bit more in those days.
You guys can, like those of you that are gonna see a replay, because again, I will have to post it and then remember, because otherwise now I cannot remember. Like you can post like a cycle under, like there is a whole video I did about it, like how to eat, when to eat it. In a nutshell, it's simple. It's whenever you have that time that you have cravings, you have to give in. It's the same thing like because it's actual hormone, you know, like there is true about the hormones that you are more hungry, more cravings, more something sweet. That's the time you can use to do more volume training, meaning like if you go to the gym, more repetition, a little bit more reps, a little bit more sets, you know, more trainings volume, more trainings frequencies. Like that time is the time to almost like become stronger or burning more calorie, which is different than doing tons of cardio, because tons of cardio will make you in a position to also inflame yourself. If you are a runner, then you can run. But if you're a person that doesn't ever run, then you're just gonna run for 5 days straight. You're gonna basically inflame yourself. And then remember that your body's kind of telling you stuff, right? That you need to get pregnant or you're not getting pregnant or whatever. So it's like, it's a stressor, even though you sense it as different. So, I mean, the trick is like use that cravings, those extra calorie towards the training, and don't think about much about the weight, because weight can go off for, like you just said, Aletta, carbohydrates, because you're inflamed, because you're stressed, because you didn't sleep good. Like sometime I wake up and it's like, let me weigh myself, and I'm like up 2 kilos. Like, what the fuck? I just did. And then when I don't care, then I'm down. It's like, it's for everybody, but women even more. So I'm saying, like, again, just, take yourself. I'm not much of a guy that's gonna take yourself with kindness, but like really understand your body, because if every time the weight is up, you're gonna stop, then it's gonna be problematic. And I'm telling you, it is one of the things. Anybody else? We have, Nadia here, Faye, Davida, we have Clara, Marcela, Lamis, Mariela again, we already talked.
Yeah, it's Nadia here, Jerry.
Yes.
Yes,
You-
hi. Yeah, I'm fine. I just had a more technical question for the app. How can I actually track my calories? Because right now I have like recipes, but I'm not following, let's say, the recipes.
Okay, so we're gonna do it right away for you. This way, like I'm actually, like, again, if that's what you want, and you are in the call, please do unmute yourself and ask me now, because you're really saving a lot of my time. I'll still gonna do it if you're not on the call, but basically we're gonna open up your tab here, and this is manual. Like you use that means like you're gonna track your food, right?
That's what I wanted to do, yeah, because for now I'm not following the recipes. I mean, sometimes I also would like to have inspiration for recipes,
Yeah.
but right now, yeah.
If you're not a person that likes to follow, I'm gonna tell you, like, I'm gonna ask you to connect my FitnessPal to the app, because at least I have your logs. But do you have a Fitbit or an Apple Watch for yourself?
No, I don't.
Let me send you the Fitbit anyway, and this one, because sometimes it goes to Garmin or the phone or whatever phone you have.
Okay.
But anyway, connect my FitnessPal. That's important. And if you don't connect it, I mean, it's still technically anyway good, but connect that if possible. And then what we're gonna do is like, we'll go here, and what I'm gonna do, and then this is kind of important principles. I'm gonna take off this, and you see how now you have macros, right? This is kind of like a more difficult task. But what I would say is like, let's test it and see how it is. But basically, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna delete, and then, oh, I think I have to delete your meal plan from here. And by the way, then I'm gonna use maybe Dory as an example, her to here. But okay. So now I think we should delete it. And now we're gonna put your goal, daily goal macros. The easy part, and you can tell me what you want to do, but it's much easier to track calories and protein than tracking all the macros for the specificity. If you want to go to the extra mile and try, but understand you might be off for a few calories every time, because it's not easy. And by the way, it's not more important. Like if you're 1700 and you just do calorie and protein, you're gonna have the same results, unless you're an athlete or unless you are like Dory with the abs, right? I
I
would
just want to have something, the most easiest, let's say, the most easiest and simple.
the most easiest this one, just the protein.
Yes, okay, perfect.
So basically, like you are eating, as long as you're eating this amount of calorie and this many protein, then you can eat whatever you want. And what happens is we're gonna go into your progress at some point, and we're gonna say logs, nutritional graphs, and here it's gonna populate and it's gonna show me, the nutritional graph, and it's gonna show me what do you prevalence your habits from, meaning like some days you go more carbs, some days more fat, and this way we see, are you more successful behaviorally to eating more carb or more fat? And again, we'll see what does it, because again, I told you, it's like you have prevalence of like more in the midsection, so that means like you might have some mild insulin resistance, but maybe not. So we'll see what it does. But again, it's like basically this is the way to go. But let me just quickly also show in case that other people need it and they watch a replay. Let me use, if we could, this lady that at this point, she didn't even, I cannot reach to her, so I don't know. We're gonna pretend that she has to hit 1700 calories, that you are gluten intolerant, soy, whatever, right? Okay, let's say that we create this. And if she doesn't get back to me by tomorrow or day after anyway, I'm gonna take off the account. Let's pretend that you have this thing in the app and you're just taking a challenge and you're like, okay, I want to whatever, right? You obviously, maybe you're a person, you don't want to eat this for the morning. Like you don't like the steak and the egg, right? Or maybe one day you want something sweet. What you need to do is like you go in here and then you can choose from the pancakes to the smoothie, whatever the hell you want. You can just choose if you up to 30 minutes and it's gonna apply. You'll see that most of the things here, it takes 5 to 10 minutes. So again, this thing about not having the ingredient or not having time, because again, let's say that you choosing this. I mean, if you don't have the dark chocolate 75%, you can use the 90%. If you don't have, it doesn't skim milk, you can use almond milk. Spread is pretty self-explanatory. Let's say you swap this. Now you need to check if you're still 1500 calories. That's your goal. Let's say that was your goal. If you are 1200, then you can say to yourself, I can have an extra apple or whatever. So this is again, but many like you prefer to have their own food, and then as long as you hit that, it's a science. I just said it. And I know some of you made this question. It's like, can I eat this food or that food? It's like today when the morning I just had like a lemon soda, like just pure sugar. I didn't have enough to work out. I didn't know what to eat. I was like, I'm gonna have a coffee, a lemon soda. I came back home later and then I had, I think a bag of popcorn and then I had some hummus. It's like you just know your calorie intake. And again, I wish it was more complicated, but it's that easy. It's like, it's really easy when you are like, unless you have a real huge problem with diabetes and some other crazy stuff, that's more work to do. But our health is really about, you might have some mild stuff to your metabolism. Sometimes are created from the excess weight, from the stress, from even insulin resistance is created from the stress. So you might not eat carbs and you might have benefit from the carbs. I know I went on a tangent. Is that answering the question, Tanya? Is that fixing the issue? Nadia, not Tanya.
Yeah, no problem. Yes, it is. But can I also, let's say, in case one day I want to follow a nice recipe, is there a possibility I can access recipes or not at all? Is it either or?
In the thing that you asked me now is either or, but like, for example, you could, if you're using MyFitnessPal, and this is the one thing that a lot of you asked, let me just come up with it. And if you did comment, you probably got this already. If you didn't, then you're gonna get a message soon. Let me just get the Bitly link real quick. This is like, we have a lot, especially, I mean, in the program, we have a lot of this, and I gave you a sample, I believe, which is this one. These are a recipe that are on a PDF, but for example, as you see here, like they're scannable on MyFitnessPal. So let's say that you don't want to track the whole time. You just scan this code over here, and by nature, it's gonna provide you with these ingredients, like these macros over here. And again, we're talking about the casserole here. And again, like there is the grams, you don't need to like be in US to make this work. If you don't have the mushroom, you can use something slightly different. If you don't have the ground pork, you can use the lean pork. Again, it's some people, and again, I don't want to insult and don't mean to be mean, or it's like some people are really not using the brain. Like it's not like you're changing it's not like it's gonna yield 1,000 more calories. It's gonna be more or less. But that's the faster way. You just scan that thing and you can go from, I always say, make it fun for you and also make it efficient. Meaning like maybe each evening you want to cook because you have your family, I don't know, you might want to cook and then you scan one recipe and then one recipe you like and you always use that. For the morning, you're just having a Greek yogurt and you run for work. So you don't want, like, you just put Greek yogurt and then it's gonna remember, it should remember. And again, the tracking part, most people have problem with, meaning like, again, I saw some comments like, but it doesn't have so many fat or this, because again, you don't want to hit all your macros. It's like, as long as you hit the calorie part, as long as you hit more or less enough protein, even if you're off, that's not a problem. But I think Lamis pointed out, you want to be weighing one time the food, because just eyeballing it, like saying, because let's say that these are two bananas. One is bigger, one is smaller, and then it's one time the biggest banana. The other one is like the egg is smaller. The other time you forget the oil you put in a salad. At the end of the day, you kind of like miss the whole point of about 300-400 calorie, and that's the 400 calorie you're supposed to be on a deficit. So that's the, oh, I think I'm eating correctly, but I'm not really eating correctly. So sorry, I'm eating healthy, but I'm not losing weight. Yeah, because you're not eating on a deficit, you're eating on a surplus. Because while you're eating healthy, you're still not tracking correctly. And again, it's hard to track, but if that's the way that you want to go, always underestimate your calories. So, and again, not in your case, because I think like we need to build some muscle on you as well. So I would assume that if we're closer to it, it's much better for this, at least this 20 days. Then for people that needs to lose weight, let's say more than 10 kilo, you're just gonna underestimate. Let's say you're high, like you need to be in 1700, you're thinking about 1600 or 1500, and then you already know that in the weekend you're gonna hit a little bit more. Sometimes you're not gonna track correctly, and this is the way it works. Simple as that.
Okay, thanks, Jerry.
Absolutely. Anybody else? This is your chance. You're all
Hi,
here. Yes.
Masala. Yeah.
Marcela, yes.
Yes,
I
can
hear
I
you a little
ask,
bit more. I hear you.
you don't, it's better?
Oh yeah, much better. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I just, if Dory is still there.
Yeah.
Yeah, could I just ask you, Dory, how did you do with the tracking of your food? Because that's my biggest problem. I I miss tracking a lot of food, and in the end of the day, I think, well, when I miss like a third of my meals tracking it, then I think it's pointless, because I know in the end the calorie or the macros are wrong. So I just wonder for how long did you do this tracking, and how could you be consistent with it? Because I think it's really hard.
I did it, I think, for in total maybe almost a year. Even when I
Wow.
got results, I kept going because yeah, it gave me a feeling of control.
Mhm.
And I noticed that at the moments that I stopped tracking, I would, like when I was making sandwiches for my kids, take a little bit of cheese while I was doing it.
Mhm.
While I was tracking, I was, no, but then I have to weigh it. No, okay, let's not do it. So to me, it was both the information of the counting, but also psychological feeling of having control, being in control of what I ate. That helped a lot. And I bought this scale to measure everything to the gram, and I did it like obsessively precise. Not because you have to be obsessively precise, but because to me that was a way to feel in control again, and was what was most important about it for me, that I knew what I was doing, and it was all in my hands.
Yeah.
So
But
it was for a long time, and it was difficult while I was cooking sometimes, because then I had to calculate. You make a pasta sauce and you put everything in it, and then you don't know how much of it exactly you're eating. So then I would weigh all the ingredients going in and calculate how much the total of the pasta sauce was. Then I would weigh all the pasta sauce and calculate, okay, so if I want to have this much calories, I need 400 grams of the sauce and something like that.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
so it was a lot of work, but actually because I was getting such good results, it was also fun to do.
Yeah.
I enjoyed doing it because it
But
felt
yeah,
yeah.
but I also it of course it gives me a lot more control because I cannot just measure it by the eye. So, but for me, I think if I do it for like more than a few weeks, I get so messed up in my head. I think it's like
What is the
it's
part that is difficult for you? What's difficult about it?
the psychological thing because I get so obsessed with it, and so when I actually eat something that I wasn't planning to eat, I get
See, that's
this
like the
bad
problem you
conscious
have.
about it.
Problem you have is not a tracking problem. The problem you have is a planning problem. It's different.
Yeah.
Like you need a framework. It's like goes for everybody. Like I guess it's a small framework because again, to your level, Marcela, when you have almost the abs, unless you track and unless you're not highly motivated like Dory was to say, okay, I want my abs more than I want the shit that I'm eating, then you're not gonna do it. So you need the planning part. The planning is like first and this most people miss that. When you track the food, you wanna go into your app the day before and put all the food you're gonna eat. You don't just eat and then you log. You track first, like you put them first. Like maybe 2 or 3 days, you can do 3 sample of it, right? Then you go to the day off with everything that you're gonna plan to eat. Let's say you eat something else, you just swap that thing for another thing because let's say you didn't eat the protein powder, you eat a protein pudding rather than instead the shake. You can either leave it because it's more or less the same, or you can just change it, exchange it, right? That's one thing. And then of course, like you said, you wanna be very how do you say? You want to be very logical in a sense, like if you always go to work and you always have the same breakfast or 3 breakfasts, then you might just weigh it once and you use that over and over again, and you don't really need to put it in again. If you use MyFitnessPal, I'm not positive. I know the app, that's what it asks you to do, but there are things like Lose It is one, that every time you put one meal, then it changes, right? If you happen to eat because one thing that tracking is difficult for is like you track on the moment and then you forget. And then you're like, oh, like you just said, it's pointless, right? But if you just do it before and then you swap for it, I mean, there is no substitution if you decide to eat the ice cream that you shouldn't. You just have to go and burn the calories. That's the way that you can do. If you're constantly hungry, then we need to elevate your calorie. Chances are, like, I think, let's see what I put you on here, but I think that we did it.
2000? 2000 calories?
Yeah, so you're more or less, I think we said, let's start with a ballpark, and because you need to restart to put like that. If you're not constantly hungry and like you think that's enough, then we can leave it like that. And so you track before, then you weight those meals one time, and then you kind of like, if you know that this is 100 grams, then you don't need to weigh it every single day. If it makes any sense, it's not like the extra, gram that is going to make a difference. It's more something bigger that happens, right? When you go out or when you go to a family thing, like Doris said before, it's a choice that you have. Is like, okay, should I just party today, or I should be a little bit more diligent? You're gonna clash with a lot of people if you do it that way. But there is a rule that you can do when you travel for a week or something. It's like when you're not tracking, there is few things. It's like you eat only meat, fish, fruit, vegetable, and what else? Eggs, maybe.
Mm.
That if it's not on that list, if it's not made of those things, you're not really eating it. And that pretty much give you certainty that you're gonna be more or less on a calorie deficit. Because even if you have your, steak with some fat on it, and then you have some vegetable, and then, you know what I mean? It's like, you're gonna be fine, yeah? But when you track. And again, the biggest thing, I think, the planning part is that you need to log before. If you log on the day off, you're never gonna do it. It's difficult. I tried so many times too. It's like, I think that's the secret maybe for you. Test it out and tell me how it's going. Because
but I often eat like I may often make this casseroles with plenty. I just take what I find in the fridge, it's leftovers, and I just put it in a casserole, and then I think it's really difficult to track. Of course, I can do like Doria
food is
just
better
told
on a
me.
label. Anything is anything on a label is better. Anything like one food ingredients you can wait at least once. You can, and again, the more complex is the recipe, unless you cannot scan it. Like if you cook that recipe I show you, and then, if you cook those things here, if you're actually cooking this, this is actually the calorie. There is no like, this is what you're eating, right? But if you just miss some of the thing and you change many things, then it's not the same thing anymore. So you just need to see whatever. But this you can log into your MyFitnessPal. You just log this. You don't need to like type everything. You just click, is one click. Metabolically, for the most part, I don't think is your case, but stuff like this anyway, even if it's just no bad food, no good food, this is much heavier in your metabolism than just eating some vegetable and some tuna, whatever. But then you need to make it fun too. I like the way that I cook my pizza. I like to make my sweets, French toast, whatever you want, pancakes. It's like you need to make it fun, and you can undo a lot of the damage by pulling some real weights like you're doing, and then getting some walks in, getting you some good sleep, and real habits, like real stuff that is like that hopefully you can maintain.
Yeah.
But keep us posted. Like again, it's just, in my opinion, it's a lot of planning from when you go to the store. There is the food, shop in there in that PDF. There is also what to buy. It's real planning. It's just when life comes up, you still wanna do the extra mile. I know it's not easy, but in my opinion, that's Clara, please unmute yourself.
I was just wondering if there is some place that I can, log my recipe for soup or whatever. So, because I've also been thinking about, calculating it by hand, but that's time consuming. So
But,
if it's,
do you have the app, right?
MyFitnessPal, yes.
So why
But
do you want to log it?
Log, a recipe, the standard recipe I use for soup, for instance.
Yeah, you can do that once and then save it in your logbook. And then you can, when you enter something and you go to, like, I can show you here. Now I went to breakfast, and I can choose here on top my meals or my recipes.
Yeah, that only worked for me one time because I don't know, my phone ended up in the oven.
Okay, I have a lot. Look, a whole list as well.
Yeah.
This is.
Yeah, I've tried it so many times, but I don't know if my phone, I made pizza and I have a magnetic case for my phone. So, 10 minutes in 230 degrees.
It might be. That's more like kind of a tech issue. It's not something that.
Yeah, because I can't save the meals. But can you use MyFitnessPal on a computer?
Yeah, you can.
Because, okay, then I can make my recipe.
You just like log into the same account you made with
Yeah.
my, and then like you just log it. Yeah, that's again, once you hit your calorie count, whether it's a recipe or whether it's just like a whatever, a shake, you should be fine. The difficult part is it's doing that. And again, it's like the certainty part. It's like you might doing fine for a little bit and then doubts creep up because, like, for example, like Aleta, she's doing fine, but when you see up and down the way, then you're kind of questioning. But when it comes to that logistic part, meaning like to put your app, like the recipe, yeah, you should be able to save them. Yeah.
Yeah, fabulous. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Jerry, I have one more question.
Huh?
You wrote somewhere that, especially in the second day of the second half of the day, carbs are necessary in order to maintain the metabolism. Does it mean that in the first part of the day you have to keep to protein only?
No. I don't know if you heard it on a video, but it's always contextual. The timing will always come. There is the bottom of the pyramid of the food is always behavior. Then there is calories. Then there is like quality. And quality, I mean like over 40. Actually, scratch off the last part. After the calorie, in my opinion, there is hunger control, meaning like you could potentially be, as long as you're in a calorie deficit, you can use other, like I said, if pancakes keep you much fuller rather than just eating clean food, if you want to see it that way, I would go with that. Then there is quality, because quality is like, meaning like, especially when people are in menopause, quality do matter. But again, we're not talking about whether you are organic food versus not organic. I'm talking about a quantity of carbohydrate on total, meaning like, let's say, most people don't do well in 20 grams and most people don't do well in 300 grams. Somewhere in the middle is where it lies. If you have thyroid issue, you need at least 150 gram to ensure that it's working fine for that. And again, then the clean part, it comes almost after. It's like, okay, but the clean part is more so like, how can I explain? Let's say that for you, beans, you put gas on your body and you go to the restroom. So the beans, for you, it's kind of like a dirty food, not good. While for me, it would be maybe okay. So that kind of quality food, meaning like quality for you, not quality you go to buy it organic or not organic. And
No,
then
I understand that, but still about protein. Sorry to interrupt you
I'm
again.
getting to that. I'm getting to that. Timing, which is what you're asking me now, is after. And after that, there is supplements.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the last one. So it's like if you're like Dory and you want to put performance and then you need to go and do a contest, then the timing makes sense. If you're pulling real weights, when you can work out and you are on a split routine twice a day, like that, then of course you want to put in it around the workout time. If your workout is in the morning, you eat in the morning. If it's the evening, is there like, but again, I'm almost positive. Each one, like I hear this kind of question many times, and usually in your case, I think, or in many times I hear this question. For them, it doesn't really matter. Like if you hit in the more either whatever makes more sense to you, that you're gonna feel better.
Okay, the total has to be fitting into the calorie or calorie deficit.
Yeah, and again, in my opinion, it's much easier to just count the calorie and the protein, and then make sure that you're eating some carbs and some. You don't want to go maybe like under 20 grams of fat because of hormone purposes, meaning like you need vitamin D. Some vitamin are only like when you eat healthy fats. And by the way, some fat in the meat, saturated fat, is actually good. Like butter is good, bacon is not that bad. Like how people saying, yeah. And then for the rest is like starches are important. Fruit is important, but starches are very important when you want to build muscle. Fiber as well as starches is very important. But you can eat in the morning, in the evening, the afternoon. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah, of course. I have some 5 more minutes. If anybody has another question, if not, we'll call it a night. And thanks for coming. You did amazing already in this challenge, all of you. Do if you're watching a replay, do pay attention to what we're doing. At some point this week, I'm gonna announce that you need to take an assessment and book your exit call if you wanna enter to be able to win the challenge, okay? So that's important. If you're watching replays, please do pay attention to this part and all the announcement. And then hopefully from there, we'll see where we're gonna do some assessment and we'll see where we're going with this. This will likely be the last Zoom that we have as a group of explanation because it's more so like was mostly Q&A. If you have any particular question, please do comment below about it when you see this replay. And what we're gonna do is like, I either gonna go live and answer to this, or I put up, if it does require a very detailed explanation, I'll do a pre-recorded Zoom and then I'm gonna post it inside the group. Any more questions or you're good? All right. I want to thank you, Dori, Marika, to have taken the time. Thank you for all the very good questions. Thank you for doing the work. I really love the fact that there is a lot more engagement in this short challenge than we had in the past group lately, for whatever reason it was. And I really like also that how, especially the clients that took that challenge are feeling probably also more motivated because, you know, like I said, when you have a group that offer peer support is much more, it's much better to you know, than anything else. But anyway, we'll be in touch. We'll do a very good week still of work. And if you need anything, again, reach out. And then look for I'll look at all the check-ins that came in. I know it was a lot of those, which is good. And then I'll answer you one by one, and then we'll be in touch lately. Talk to you soon. Thank you so much for the time, and talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Take care. Bye.